do Mo je ju dong da wer Sim je dong je do ngo me be de wa Je je sim je dong je ni ron ja dong ni dong Ta nyo la de war ju ro je sim je dong je de we ju dong den wer Sim je dong je do ngo dong je ju dong da wer ju Sim je dong je do ngo me be de wa dong je je sim je dong je ni ron ja dong ni dong ta nyo la de war ju ro je sa je je ju jo me Pero lai je nie de jiang guang de, sao ye xiang de me de gong la yi, gu ge nan dao xiang la jiu, In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. And now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the newly created this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness in the process. May all sentient beings be free from suffering in the process. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in community free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground mounted with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha flow and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land.
Good morning to you all. Tôi ở cô gà, sẽ vô chỉ mình được cái để bố bố là gì? Cái để bố bố là gì chẳng là cái công văn cái nào cũng là gì. I apologize, I can't hear clearly, so I just like to make a technological adjustment. Đây à. So, again, welcome to all to join us this morning's Dharma discussion. And I consider I must tell you that I consider it a special day because we invite the two highly accomplished cases to join this session with us. And so we're going to practice the meditation, but then we after that we're going to do the Dhamma discussion. To my right, the first scholar monk is Dalto, And then next to Geshe Gyaltsula is another highly accomplished Geshe Gesang Nobu. And they both was born in Tibet, then escaped to India, and were in South India, and then they studied couple of decades, and finally they accomplished and successfully received their highest degree of Geshe Haramba, and the degree of the doctor degree of divine speech. And so now we are very fortunate to have them here with us. I'm sorry. Let's see if the voice will come from the entire hall.要不然남진 저도 이거는 거야지요, 말. 이게 근데.
또다 그런 게 아주 무일도 그런 기시 땅에 무일도 또 아니 지금 뭐라 펼치데 마원아서 비엘라 나와는 요거 지용아 때리금 받주지하게 지기어다 땀 말아가 지라테 파르도가 진짜로 그요 말 그때 손 이시양 투파지 패르 그게 내가 맞아 야 나도 근데 진짜 아니 비엘라 이 토마토를 이낭 말아줘라 땀로네 다 무상체는 내라니
Initially, the purpose of this highly accomplished Geshe-la's goal is upon to receive the highest degrees of Buddhist philosophy and the ritualistic practice, and then they were planning to go back to Tibet and particularly go to Bumbum, northeast Tibet. Unfortunately, as we all know, and the current conditions rather very rough and hard, and so therefore we was not able, and that goal was not be able to achieve. Even like Geshe Gyaltsula, he tried, went back to Tibet and tried to stay in Bumbum and be the local residential teacher, and tried to settle down in his own home monastery, Bumbum. Unfortunately, the Chinese authority chased him out and forced him to left the country. And so that was however, it turns out that it's a kind of misfortune, and but it became a good fortune for us here in the United States because of this negative encounter or instance, and now we'll be able to invite, have the opportunity to invite the Geshe Gyaltsula come to the United States instead of stay in Bumbum and teach there. Geshe Gesang Nobu, on the other hand, and as I said before, he also have accomplished, finished his highest Buddhist degrees of Buddhist studies and practice and training. And his initial plan also was to go back to Tibet, to Bumbum, and teach, be the teacher there. But as you know, and again, he was not able to get the yen because the Chinese authority rejected his uh, travel back to home country permit for special permission for travel country.
어때 저다 때문에 즉 정도다 안자는 것이 정말 정말 연구시 정말 연대 가면 좀 가면 좀 그다음에 랜드시에 지금 이런 담박을 내려 랜드시 가지고 준다는 거 뭐가 근데 주 통도 좀 다른 방법이요. 근데 맞아 말했어.
Yeah, we were trying to get Portuguese to come to the United States to here, yeah, and in 2020, but because of obvious reasons, that plan was not successful.
그래 가지고 지금 치다 가지고 참아 그때 그냥 때 가면 좀 되는 시인스.
Yeah, it's there, and
아기하는 거 치다 가지고 참아 건들지네 같은 톤도 되게 치는 가지고 랜드시 주인스.
Oh yeah, of course, all this plan and the ideas has been carried out under the Ajahn Rinpoche's direct supervision.
어디 저다 내가 또 랜드시고 뭐 일로 이시 양쪽 그런 거 같은데 그거랑네 복잡 복급 예나데 네 거의 그 게임 뭐 어떤 배치 게임 참아를 따르는 거 일단 대표는 아주 다 마오는지 남기 따르 거치지 아니 지 마오는지 보바 보피 보트 몽보들 보트는 존나 마오는지 거의 그 보트 배치 어떤 때냐 무슨 돌아 수바 근데 지지 아니 그런 뜻도 마오는 되게 상태는 소비는 금방 그 실라 단단한 가지고 금방 bomba세데 상태는 세데 무슨 장르 무치 그런 장소도 실로 금방 bomba 사원도 지게 데이터 TV 로지 종르니 근데 로지 지가 텐데 무기 텐데 섬도 텐데 시오스.
So I would like to share our basic plan, what the things we are trying to accomplish in the coming years. First of all, for Geshe Jatula, and because he is a highly accomplished and respected teacher back to South India in the Jibon Goma Monastery and Monastery University, he as a teacher of there, and he is particularly specialized in the Madhyamika philosophy, meaning that he's experts in terms of the teaching and elaborating on the Madhyamika philosophical view concerning the ultimate reality. So we are very fortunate and also would very much love to come here to do the number one thing, that is teach and us and share his expertise and teach us to help us to establish our own Madhyamika or Prasankika Madhyamika philosophical view. And that's the plan one for Geshe Gyaltsula. And the second is Geshe Gyaltsula, not only highly accomplished in the Buddhist philosophy, but he is also a great writer and a great teacher in Tibetan literature and also specialized in Tibetan grammar. So therefore, we would love to second the thing asked Geshe Gyaltsula to do is to teach the Tibetans and outside here in the United States in particular, and share his linguistic Tibetan language, Tibetan literature, and the knowledge of his Tibetan language and grammar with whoever outside Tibet and willing to take the lessons to learn from him. And the last, not the least thing we would like to teach Jaltala to do while he is here is that, and ask him to teach, not teach, to write and compose a history of a book. Basically, create a book and a history of Kumbhan Chamziling here in this very place where we are, and to collect the data and then put it all them into a book. Now, because he is specialized in the history, so we thought that this would be a great opportunity, and therefore Bishop Jaltala and to write a book about it and the establishment of Kumbhan Chamziling and this temple and its history from beginning up until whatever the time we going to decide to close the writing. And yeah, and so this is particularly important is because we know that Kumbhan Chamziling here, this temple is directly is directly linked to Dalai Lama's kindness, compassion, and direct the supervision. So, and because His Holiness Dalai Lama envisioned that this is the Kumbhan monastery in the West. So in fact, it's called the Kumbhan in the West. So therefore, we would like to ask Geshe Jaltala and to compose or write a book about this very Jaltala.
근데 딱 미식가서 노를 나이네 바로 미식 하는 말에 있잖아요. 홍대 배우 담시고 위에 조도 그렇게 좀 건강한 것들이다. 저가 참도 다 저가 저도 잠깐만 들리 그런 거 좋아해. 들리 그런 거 아니. 뭔가 좀 되게 있더니 곰 그런 거 들리 낳고 상황이 괜찮다. 저도 맞네. 어떤 땅도 공부 공부하는 저 공부 공부 마음 진경주 저가 참는 것을 같은 거 하고 좀 지당 지지다. 뭔가 좀 너무 이때는 공부하던 배우고네 지금 원 냠도 그때 지금 나빠다 이만 나오나 되게 실리 지내는 시스.
For Geshe Gyatso Nobu, we have a plan or request him to do the following 3 things. Number one, and Geshe Jaltala, because he is well trained in the tantric rituals or forms of ritualistic practice, and then that is part of the strong tradition in Kumbhan Monastery, and Geshe Gyatso Nobu is particularly well received all the lineage and the ritual. Accomplished all the ritualistic knowledge, so including this, how to set up the altars and how to lead into chantings, how to perform the sacred rituals, and so on and so forth. So he has this complete package and knowledge of whatever in the Kumbhan, back to Kumbhan Monastery in Tibet, what they're doing. And so Geshe Gyatso Nobu is very good with that. So he is going to do the transmitting, teaching, and train the others to how to perform the rituals and receive all the ritualistic knowledge from him. And he is going to do that, and. So, and also, and with respect to the prayers and chantings, and Geshe Gyatso Nobu also have the completed the training, and so he's going to share and train others and to become the masters of in this field of Buddhist practice. And then here's another equally important task or the job he's going to do here is that he's going to teach the course on meditation or lead the meditation, and he will be the one who primarily teaches the individuals who are interested to train themselves in the field of meditation. So that's our basic plan for the district Gasol Noble.
다 단지 찰랑 가동도 지 삼바농 내가 그런 거 지도하는 게 그런 거 나차 되는 거 단단히 카브를 요 말을 들리지 뭐 카브로 쓰는 게 뒤쪽 나차도 좀 양성만 남아도 정말 되니 남아 정말 자체는 진짜 뭐 지도 아까 다 처음에 맞아 들리지 지도하고 방금 좀 어떻게 하면 이거
누가 공간에 여고는 좋은데.
다 적당하네. 적당 지당 가서 다 다섯 다 오대.
네.
적당한데 다는 나차 뛰어온 거 때문에 다 빼가지고 지금 탑덤으로 찍으면 돼. 다 근데 좌톤인데 지금 뭐 좋지 않다 맞고 하는데 사우치면 지마테 나차도 다다 코인이 캅대라고 말하는 진짜 캅으로 왔는데 나차도 장송해나 다 원 다 지다 듣고 맞는데 지금 못 치는 게 있을 텐데 이게 다 직접 농투 좋아할 때 되게 너무 다 도와서 되는데 여와식이 그때 좀 소나 같은 것보다 직접로 시작이 진짜 그래야지.
So these are our basic plans. However, we know at the moment, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are obviously unable to carry out our plan and or do the things as we wish. So the only thing we can do is quite limited, other than teach online with the rituals and share our practice online. But eventually, and another fact, the matter of fact is that this two geshe haven't just arrived in the United States recently. They haven't get their have not yet been vaccinated. So therefore, everything is still at the planning stage. But afterwards, and hopefully in sometime later in this, when we all are together over with this pandemic, and then we hope that we can do the things like we have planned, or we can materialize what we have in our mind or as a plan. So I wish that everybody pay the attention and give us support, and so we can join us to do the things together.
근데 이제 담반이는 내 개런 지진이 수수부치 정리 연된 등하고 불렀대. 페이지는 돌아 펜투시하고 영화치 동 아니 나랑도 치년 큰 거다 그러면 선생님 뭐 도지 정말 그네 때 빈긴도 좀 지도 같은 거 정말 정말 너무 발로지네. 이런 분이 또 등일에 왔습니다.
So I have a personal request, or I would like to express my personal hope, is that we have this two highly accomplished geshe, such a rich resource, and it is my sincere hope that you all know that their mission or their goal, the purpose of their presence here is to share their unique knowledge and trainings and their profession, the things that they perfected. So so they're going to lead us and play the primary role, and but at our side or as a learner or the whoever who is showing has interest about the Buddhist practice and the teachings, I would personally request you all that continue your support and come in. People come in and join us in various events and classes, and to make the our goal and the to be materialized and to be successful and the benefits of not only here us but all others as well.
근데 다 리와드 볼음테 다 아자르 고치 우추이 고니니 여러 고치 공지 갔다간 생기 좀 도와게 된 리와드 만데 있는 시가
So after all, we know that all these ideas or the missions and our goals, the purpose is directly linked to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's very compassionate teachings and advice. So, and then Ajahn Rinpoche is the one who is locally here and is leading us. So I hope that we all can take the advantages of this and do something that is truly meaningful and beneficial.
야 땅아도 로마돈데 검자가 있는데 수수고 뭐일전은 난 남기시지 같은 게 정말
Và cái chỉ là thì nó bao nhiêu chỉ là cần làm gì?
그것도 자주마다 양속해주는.
Oh yeah. So now we would like to request you all join and us here in the chanting of Aryan Para mantra recitation, and after the recitation, and we practice the meditation, and then after the meditation, the Kishi Jasula is going to give us a brief introduction to Buddhism.
不知你多吉祥玛尼耶萨玛尔说心中那巴吉那个罗伊南的玛尼瓦或者是王尼说那么不等刚刚从而你就这个当做是说若吉是那么的so这个我非常的所以这是个是两个这个
你是哪？
哦，
你这样是什么？
对，
这个说这是好像是某那么清楚，我的세워这样的，这个카톡 스토리那么多。그래서 한번 그냥 Mac di cái kadang atau dong di bola sequence bola itu dia itu.
Hello. Good.
Saya tadi dia.
Good.
Kecil aja soal ini kok. Kecil aja soal mana?
Dan 이제 미 정말 선배들이 시기에
So first of all, welcome you all, and it's actually delay, and it's my sincere greetings and to
다들 이제 아버지 사람들이 되니 아주 이제 끝나지 아니 이제 어떤 데서 이제 제일
So today, I would like to give a very brief introduction to general introduction to Buddhism.
다시 동경하고 남의 치수에 당리 치라 다바 진행다 아니 다바 무진행 주니에 요래
Itulah sama juga bisa kita ke disebut itu. Kamala. Ini namanya nanti basic punga besok di sama ada namanya that itulah itu loh, tidak itu loh. Ini punga besok namanya itu observe. Nama ini ini punga itu di ko tapi sama saja loh.
Hello, good.
Biji punga kalian nama orang sudah ada tahu sahaja. Tapi nama saya tak tahu itu. Bagaimana sih soalnya?
Iya.
Tak boleh.
Lagi sih soalnya.
Tak jadang dia ngazo.
Oh, siapa itu?
Boleh.
Siapa itu?
Ya, hoi. Tak jadang ngazo nambi chi sebe tak zozo bi chi ke lemba dang lemba ge ring yong yore. Tak ngazo aba sanji bi chi ke lang sin se. Tak ngazo ji chi sebe kan le da. Ai go chi la taba chi 아니 तब 제동 간에 봐. 어떤 TV 멤버들 시고 어떻게 좀 그랬어요.
So before I talked specifically about the basic characteristic or the unique Buddhist theory and practice, and as we know that Buddhism is part of the world religion, and so world religion generally there's a kind of there are two particular forms of religion, you can say. One is the sort of the approach based upon the external searching, and another is based upon the internal searching, searching internally. So here, Buddhism belongs to the second form of world religion, meaning that Buddhism as a religion is adopted the searching of internally. Or the very technique is searching the ultimate reality internally, and but searching the ultimate reality internally, we have to know that it has to depend upon or requires the, some faith in some faith for it. So therefore, why is faith and how important it is that we have to think about this.
接上说的去了德巴经理局嘛，那可能去了德巴事业的跟着是机构的，但这样德巴这样忙得多么送进来去的政策去的过呢德巴企业呢做的德巴的德巴样德巴企业的。
So religions always involved with or basically is sort of rely on and the faith of the rely on the power of the faith. So so that means since faith is an integral part of the religion and to here, meaning that we do have to have a faith for the traditions or the religion that we have we're going to explore. But the question is, before you really do anything about it, we have to know is that how we place our faith in the tradition, in Buddhism, right? Because we must try to avoid the faith that's based upon the ignorance or misinformed or the not informed. In other words, the not to the Buddhist practice based on the faith that generally can be considered as superstitions, but clear understanding. So how we do this? If you establish the three things that would help us to establish a clear and right faith.
第一个德巴的跟着是呢，刚刚说当时决定的选择了上的，是一对你一次动机的。
是吧？就是了，这是有错清楚。How can I make this? How can I make this? It sounds a little slow. I mean, it's not only slow, but unclear. 咁樣就講緊你啱中嚟就關呢樣點知冇啊？Let me try and see it. Do this. 因為我這個你來說電腦啦，咁就這裡面那個的嘢嘅。那麼其實啦，其實公家嘅所說嘅啲呢，但係我睇見啦，我是覺得，但係啲嘢係唔對。你其實啦，就是說的。
到底你嘅，按你說說， 写了德巴写的图的，
那边有很多那边有推荐的。
我这里的德巴养德巴就养好了，俺们真正写的过来，德巴这个这个什么的，这个是呢，also按照这个说给他说那些，日因的次对你多些个，电视过完之后才能。这是找的，这是打把灯，他能找我这个事情了，从把那些，到底这是我说浪费企业，日子用不当当，那都带了带来，那说说就这了，打把几当了说的，就把这个送来。
这个当成生送过来，当成日送过来了。
他这个当不这个是对吧？你给男生写过，带了带
哦，
来，
是。
那这个你把这个对吧？日给男生都写过，这个是把这个
哦，是。
叫生给男生都写过。带了带来，3月张月呢，打把灯不设计给我这什么？
是，这个送的刚才用来了。
对，要这个送，本质这个送的来的。
是，Okay. I think the best way to explain and what are the faiths required, how to establish the authentic faith, and is to quote from His Holiness the Dalai Lama's prayer and to all the ancient Indian masters, Mahasiddhas. And so in that verse composed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, basically he talked about there's 4 lines or 4 one stanza has 4 lines. The first line, what His Holiness Dalai Lama point out is that the way to establish authentic faith is the individual practitioner or the learner to understand the 2 truths or the teachings of the 2 truths, the conventional truth and the ultimate truth. And the second line, in the second line, His Holiness Dalai Lama point out the importance of the fundamental teachings of Buddhist system, that is the 4 noble truths. In the third line, His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the importance of the mind of refuge, meaning that seeking for the protection from Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then in the last line, His Holiness Dalai Lama talked about the unshakable, clear, and authentic and correct faith, to how to measure when established the genuine and authentic faith.
那自己的所说的当然德巴吉用的上呢，德巴吉的有的真的工作是不是的，他上级工作、接工作、领导工作，第二呢，他说他加工人的话的接工作出来。
So we can explain this from a different approach. Let's say, in general, traditionally, in Buddhism, the way to establish the authentic or genuine faith is to understand the 3 jewels. The 3 jewels refer to Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha. The Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are the object of our the protection, in other words, the very object and depend upon which we establish or develop our mind of refuge.
他这里的 这技能者要不就七八了，呢，说说得到有些有意的要不就些了，你气功做些的要不就没什么用。他气功做些的，到上级的就给主要等着设备设置，主要等着装备装吧，我的理解了气功做是的人，你对嘛是对上的嘛是对上级什么上线，我的主要就那样，就是气功做的用的。他如果登记朋友通过第上级去了，那都用了那里。但上次通过之后来呢，让所属的各个的那个各个主要的当地方面，方面就没给。但但是我是这样的话的，去工作的那个的机会。
So even though Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are generally the foundations of Buddhist the protection or the foundations to develop the Buddhist authentic faith. However, among them, the Dharma, the jewel of Dharma, is considered as essential, or they consider generally the most important, or the ultimate protection. So why is it the Dharma is considered to be ultimate protection, and compared to the other two jewels? Essentially, we know that Dharma means whatever Buddha has achieved, the qualities, the attributes, the power, so Buddha's very quality, or the very quality that established the Buddhahood, and it essentially has twofold. One is the aspect of
it's 11 o'clock.
The purification of all obscurations. So whoever has achieved or obtained that aspect of absolute or the ultimate purity, or the aspect of the liberation, free from the obscuration. That is the one aspect of Buddha, a quality which established the Buddhahood. And second aspect of is the abandonment. So abandonment here is abandon all the negativities. When the individual who achieved that very aspect or the superior point of a spiritual practice, and be able to successfully, thoroughly abandon all the negativity, and then that is the second quality which establish one's Buddhahood. So therefore, when we take a refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the Dharma is particularly important or considered ultimate. That is because of these two supreme qualities. And we know that below the perfect Buddhahood and or Buddha, there are a class of highly achieved the spiritual enlightened spiritual being. We referred them and generally call them Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is the individual who also have obtained a great deal of these two unique supreme spiritual qualities, meaning the aspect of the purity and the aspect of the successful abandonment of the negativity. but compared to Buddha, and then they haven't yet achieved the perfection and the greater the perfect Buddhahood. However, and that they are the spiritual qualities they have obtained and they achieved is the Dharma. And so, and therefore, and the which is the supreme and protection of the second jewel, the Dharma jewel. Okay, so now at this point we know that the Dharma jewel is our ultimate the goal or the highest spiritual attainment that we can obtain. So in order to achieve or obtain this supreme spiritual attainment ourselves, and we have to do take a various action and what we call the practice in general, and to achieve it. In the simplest way, we know that our as simple as make prostrations, say prayers, think about it. So we can do various things. However, in order to really achieve this ultimate goal of attainment as a Dharma jewel ourselves, and then we have to adopt a system of the technique. So that system of technique can be started with by learning and understanding the Four Noble Truths. So let's learn the relationship between these Four Noble Truths. First of all, the Four Noble Truths are the Noble Truth of suffering, and Noble Truth of the cause of the suffering or the origin of the suffering, and the Noble Truth of the cessation, and the Noble Truth of the path. So from the Noble Truth of the causes of or the origin of the suffering, there is the Noble Truth of the suffering itself. And because of the by the power, actually, by relying on the power of the Noble Truth of the path, and we can attain the Noble Truth of cessation or nirvana.
also tartiki ane gobe demba che kunso de ane tobe sibala ane tone persa le don nyomo se de sabe kongo yore le don nyomo de pombo sibala ane tambo de linyu ji wang yu song de ane dinge de non sa de ya also sibo chile.
So the very reason and we experience the first noble truth suffering is because there is a cause which serve as the source or from where and all the sufferings been produced. So therefore, we call it the noble truth of the origin of suffering. But what is the really original, the noble suffering of the origin? And literally, the noble truth of the suffering of origin are divided into two parts. One is afflictive emotion, or defilement. Another is the karma. And so because of the defilements and the karma, and then we have this experience of unsatisfactory and miseries in our life. So therefore, the relationship between the various suffering that we're experiencing and of the origin of the and the karma are played in this context is play the role of cause and effect. So yes, indeed, the way to achieve the jewel ourselves and be the true ultimate protector of ourselves, and by achieving the Dharma jewel, then we have to understand the noble truth of the relationship between noble truth of the suffering and noble truth of the origins of the suffering. And it is absolutely true when you examine it. You know that if you don't understand the suffering in the or the noble truth of suffering, you will not take a serious action and to find a way to free from that very suffering. And so therefore, we have to study our condition and to fully understand the condition in which we live are indeed suffering, or fundamentally is a misery. So once you understand this, and then we were seeking for what is the cause of this misery, what is the reason we are suffer, right? So there are various reasons, and we are experiencing suffering. But basically or fundamentally, the real the cause of our very suffering is the contaminated aggregates that we received of our previous the karma and the experiences of afflictive emotions.
Jimmy dinner said, that's such a journey, so what do I? That's also a cake and one to consider what like ten, and then be like, so what do I? You take the watch in the other. Indeed, they need to do the watch you take, and I am from an old department to make no good what to do. But the many what day, that is now, come on, chop on the city dinner said, not down Tango, not down her, comes in, go out and take the come on to your day, and chop on the city dinner said, that's all the period.
So three sufferings are it's the experience of and is the manifestation of the actual misery and all kinds of unsatisfactories and that all sentient beings are experiencing. So then let's see those are three. There are what kind of how many forms are there? Essentially, there are three different kinds of sufferings. Technically called the suffering of suffering and suffering of change and the suffering of propensities or the all pervasive suffering of formation. Within these three sufferings, the suffering of suffering and we not only we humans understand, but even animals and they understand, which is suffering. So the suffering of a change is more subtle, and it is because when we say the suffering of change, we are literally referred to any sensational, pleasurable, enjoyable feelings. Right? Anything we consider as sensually is enjoyable and pleasant, and that is from Buddhist point of view, and it is belong to the categorization of the second suffering, the suffering of change. Now, the third suffering is the actual suffering. In other words, it's a real suffering that we are addressing, and our Buddhism is particularly considered as essential to a focal point of practice in terms of to purify. And so this the third suffering is the suffering of propensity, or another translation called the suffering, the all pervasive suffering of formation. And that is the real cause of suffering, and that is the real suffering. And because it is real, that's the cause of suffering, is because this type of suffering is pervasive, is stretched to all the three realms of existence.
That data also and dinner to combo starting unity combo the long since Jewa down, Gawa, Nawa, so CID, Chigala Chiki dinner day, also go news the bottom, and since it's legend by Nayan, that indeed Chigala Chiki dinner day, non the go to race. That 처방 지금 방이 되어 있나? that data way and chiga chi dimeti tam donchen se ayo amare samagi chiga chi dimeti de dio amare 다 나도 봐이나 아니티 지가나 지고 드네티 정사게 짜와디 가래 그런 문제 다 쩐데 가래 시체오니 아니 레다 요몽이 근저게 바스였다 아 principi 레다 요몽 어디냐라 때네 아주 다티게 리기다 뭐기 그냥 무슨 거레스
So we said that among the three sufferings, the real suffering, that is the suffering of propensity or the all-pervasive suffering of formation. And that is because not only technically say all is stretched out in the three realms of existence, literally, and the way to understand the subtlety of this suffering, the suffering of propensity is this. So whoever, wherever, whenever, and as soon as you coming into any form of existence within the framework of within the realms of samsara, what happened is that and you have to go through the four phases of the life, right? And the first phase is the phase of the birth, and then the first and phase of the aging, and the phase of the illness, and then finally the phase of the death. And which in Buddhism, these four phases are in Buddhism the sufferings of the four phases, right? And this suffering not only we humans are experiencing, but all other sentient beings are also equally experiencing. It doesn't have to go through these three stages or phases of the suffering experience. And also another reality is that while we are being born or subject to these four sufferings, and at the same time, there's no any sentient being without exception who wish to have a slightest suffering at all, right? All of them are wish and trying to do try to experience something opposite. That is, they wanted to free from the this four phases of suffering. But just wishes, of course, is not enough, right? And so the Buddhist teaching and teaches that we have to, if we don't like the four phases of this undesirable suffering experiences, and then we must examine, we must ask a question and learn from where, by what, how we are experiencing these four the experiences of the suffering. So our serious inquiry or exam of the causes of our own and unwanted four phases of suffering will lead us to the point where we will see where suffer is because of the car, because our afflictive emotions.
안에 그 내관종의 전적인 현상です。
je suis en train de checker des choses samba quand on a genre des samba quand on a genre peut-être qui sont arrivés.
저당하고 레시아데 셈벨에다 셈벨레시아데 이런 거 그냥 단다 편정하고 등에 그 영사의 지가 저데 펜실레시아데 펜실레 펜실레 내가기 아니 그 등에 그 그런 지가 나와.
So let's take a look about the within the two causes of our very samsaric suffering, that's karma and afflictive emotions or disturbing emotions. And first of all, when we talk about the karma, and we are basically referred to action, right? So any action from Buddhist point of view, or from a Buddhist spiritual point of view, all action can be divided into two categories. One is a virtuous action, and one is a non-virtuous action. Action is again, it can be determined at mental level and speech level and physical action level. Among those three actions, mental, speech, and body action, the mind action or mental action plays the key role. Because essentially, whatever the action you take in or how it was manifested and is directly, indirectly linked to one's mind. And in fact, there's two kinds of mental action or mental karma. And one is the karma of the intention and the karma of the actual action that's leading by or executed by the very mind. Right. So here, when we talk about the karma as one of the leading or the primary causes of suffering, we are mainly talk about the karma of the projecting, the projecting karma, meaning that the karma which is the project and forced the things and the events and taking place and then become your own individual experience.
안에서 등에 그 자와데 아주 강에 몸부지 용기와 그 자와데 내가 요모와지 요모데 조데 요모 처당의 관계 아주 어떤 그런 몸부지 쳐기와래 등에 몸부지 쳐기와래 그 처당데요 조데 타그나 단전세당 빈전세 오다 완전세비 타그나 단전을 필요해.
Now let's move to see the second primary of our unwanted suffering. And that is the afflictive emotion or disturbing emotion. Afflictive emotion, and here is serve as one of the root cause of our samsaric reality or all kinds of unsatisfactory or undesirable experiences. In the simplest term, in the afflictive emotion, and it can be manifested as attachment or aversion. Aversion and attachment are the sort of outface or the very sort of behavior of the afflictive emotions. So then there are all kinds of many different kinds of afflictive emotions. But if we trace back to its origin, its ultimate roots, and then we will see that there are basically again the two afflictive emotions and which acting as the root cause of the rest of all the secondary afflictive emotions. One is we call it the grasping at the self of person, and second is grasping at the self of phenomena. So these two grasping of a person and the grasping of self of phenomena are the two root cause of all the afflictive emotions or disturbing emotions. And then again here in the from practical point of view, so among these two grasping of self of person, grasping of self of phenomena, which one is more directly sort of affected us in terms of our negative experiences of the life, and it is the grasping at self of person. That is the root cause of, or serve as the root cause of all the afflictive emotions, and then from where we experience all kinds of undesirable or unwanted sufferings.
当然比吃素的嘛，到生存可能，然后是接了恐怖的，然后是对接了这样的，我就是错。
So thank you for your attention, and I'm afraid our time for today's session is run out, and so please let me end our today's discussion here, and I do hope and also believe that we will have another time to continue our discussion. So thank you very much for you all for coming and for your time and your attention.
Okay, Stacy, would you like to make an announcement? Stacy, we cannot hear you. Hello?
Hello? On. Can't hear.
Okay, can you say?
Okay, if you would like to make a donation for this teaching, it would be very appreciated by the monastery and the monks. And you can do this by calling 812-336-6807 or by emailing the temple, which is at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you, Tenzin.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.